how do we help people live a healthier
Totally.
lifestyle? How do we
Yeah.
redefine health? How do we make it more accessible? How do we make it, I think in a lot of ways, what you did at Greatest and now continue to do is like, how do we make it approachable and not this thing that feels like far
Yeah.
off or for a certain type of person? And so I think it lays the groundwork really nicely for like, getting back in the ring, right? But still very much in that kind of same path of increasing access and awareness to health and wellness. So yeah, as it relates to Nest, like, well, what is it? But then also like, how did you make that jump from,
Yeah, totally.
selling this company to now getting back into it?
Yeah, and I think like fundamentally, right, I feel very blessed that early on in my life I like realized why I'm like on this planet. Like I felt like there was this moment as I was struggling with my health and wellness personally, but also becoming sort of, passionate about it personally and professionally increasingly, that I became kind of convinced that I was here to like democratize access, right? And at Greatest, we got to do that, not to get all like philosophical or frankly overstate what we did at Greatest, which again, I'm very proud of that experience. And I do think it was early and made it like, I think the brand we built was really valuable and important as a part of the like overall story of health and wellness at the time. But like for sure, like making things more accessible, friendlier and accessible is in theory really important. But in reality, there's just no denying. And this is what I kept coming back to as I was starting to think on what that getting in the ring looks like. What is that next sort of at bat? And there's just no denying that it's too expensive for most people. It's like it's just hard to afford so many parts of living healthy. Why is that? And so I, about like a year and a half or so spent about a year and a half in between companies working as an advisor and a consultant. I did some investing in a bunch of different health and primarily, frankly, like healthcare companies that were consumerizing in some way. And I started to think a lot about healthcare and how like that should play some role in this making things more affordable. At the time, I was really mad that health insurance wouldn't pay for me to see a therapist. And I didn't get why health insurance wouldn't. I had this therapist I liked and it like refused. I couldn't figure out any way to get this insurance I was on to reimburse me for this therapist. I felt so strange during COVID that would be the case. And so I started to look into why it was that health insurance seemingly rarely actually pays for the things that people both increasingly want, but also experts agree are good for you. Eating well and working out and taking vitamin D and mental health. Like this is like, these are not controversial things, like this is like everyone agrees that if society was doing it, we'd be so much better off. However, health insurance, like basically like doesn't reimburse you for any of that usually. So me and some friends, some former sort of investors and backers of Greatest, some mentors, started to explore why that was. And what we learned was actually something pretty surprising. I think that effectively the majority of people in this country, unlike any other country in the world, essentially get health insurance from their employer. That is a weird, there's a weird kind of history for why that ended up being. But today, people stay with employers for such a shorter period of time. It's never effectively been shorter. And so from the health insurance plan's perspective, if I know you're just going to be on my plan for 3 to 4 years while you have a job with your current company, but then you're going to switch to another company and probably end up on a competitor plan in the same area, what's the incentive for me to reimburse you for your gym membership or pay for your healthy food? By the time any of it makes any difference, you're on a competitor plan. It's almost like gifting money to the competition. So to me, it's like this like misaligned incentives in the space are effectively like at the core, like the core fundamental issue, I think, actually in the system. If you could fix those incentives, and we started getting more and more excited about this idea. If you could effectively fix those incentives for the better, you could align them so that health insurance stuck with you long enough that it could actually justify investing in your long-term health. Well, you could actually wean the system off this employer first model and actually justify like reimbursing and bringing the cost down in the process of all of these things that are good for you. And so we became obsessed, just like I was kind of like, at Greatest, with the same, like, how do you end up building something like this? And for us, that meant trying to find a model, a form factor that we could maintain a longer term relationship with you on. It turns out that in this country, never have more people had a choice of where they get their health insurance from. That, is shifting, and I would bet on that trend continuing. Part of the reason is that employer costs for healthcare have like grown so tremendously, and even the employees themselves are paying so much out of pocket often for a good plan that it just feels like unfeasible. Like it just doesn't feel like that's going to last. So more and more employers have actually turned to ICRAs and QSERAs and, effectively like pre-tax solutions, or using like give dollars to your employees to pick whatever plan they want, typically on the open exchange. There's never been more self-employed and freelance folks. There's actually never been more people in this country who are uninsured, but like totally eligible, not for Medicare or Medicaid, but like to get health insurance. We think there's a big opportunity to build some things for people who have a choice, and we think more people will have a choice in the future. So what do you choose? And so that's how we landed on this kind of unique wedge that is Ness, which is a credit card. And in fact, we got so excited about credit cards that we're now building a credit card company. And effectively, the vision is to build an Amex for health with a full suite of consumer credit cards, and to build actually health insurance as an option on top. So imagine you don't get health insurance anymore from your employer. You actually get it from your credit card. And you opt into your health insurance. And this health insurance is actually more affordable, reimburses you for the things that you really care about. And the reason it can afford all that, and that makes any sense, is because you're going to stay with this credit card world, this platform, for the next 30 to 40 years of your life. And as long as you continue having a choice where you get your health insurance from, the incentives are fully aligned. So that's the kind of the long-term vision is to completely shift the system as we currently understand it, to wean sort of everyone off this employer-sponsored health insurance. It's very possible that employers will just continue to embrace the ICRA and other pre-tax solutions, and actually the employer will help you pay for your health insurance that you get on your Nest card. But to actually effectively build a true consumer-first solution that actually has those aligning incentives in this terribly misaligned space for the first time with consumers.